So you must all be somewhat worried about what's going on in the price action, about today's volatility in the futures contracts. If we take a look, everybody's going bananas. Oh, the market's going insane, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, really, it's actually pretty simple what's going on. And in fact, I wouldn't take any of this to heart at all if you are familiar at all with how the market behaves. So the bottom line is that to get out of the way if you're in a hurry, we're probably going to end up moving closer to where the market has closed on the weekend. And although it appears that right now we had all this crazy volatility to the upside, crazy volatility to the downside, overnight, at least for myself and for everyone in essence, it will end up correcting most likely. It only is important and imperative for us to notice and pay attention if the gap that is being generated throughout this session is tremendously big, while in reality throughout this session we've seen nothing special. We've seen mainly entanglement with the levels we're already familiar with, so nothing all that insane. To be objective, in fact, we kind of moved alongside the channel. If you pay attention, we are moving into this downwards channel. In fact, now it makes a lot more sense as we moved into the weekend. I was kind of confused a little bit, and in fact, dare I say so, I was thinking for a second there that we may be gonna have a long weekend, which I completely forgot all about. Let me admit and say I completely forgot all about. Salute to President Donald Trump, right? It's the President Day. If anything, if not today, then when, right? Great job so far, by the way. Great job. If already mentioning Donald Trump. I really do think that today's price action will end up summing itself up with a nothing burger at the end of the day. But we want to talk about what is coming up in the upcoming sessions. And in fact, like I said, it sort of didn't make sense to me how I saw the discrepancy between the futures contracts and what I've expected to see on the regular sort of day-to-day contract. But it does make sense now. It really does make sense that I completely forgot about the long weekend. But let's get into this. Of course, as we understand, even looking at the futures contracts, we don't really care about the 1 or 5 minutes. They wouldn't matter that much. We want to look at the 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and so on. That's where things get interesting, where we can look somewhat outwards. Right now, the momentum on the 30 minutes, as you can see right there, I'll try to expand it so you can see better. It is bullish, so it makes sense to assess that we are looking at a movement of the price action potentially up to this ceiling that we have back to that 6890. My bad, I went there too far low. Roughly around to that, which is, by the way, if you pay attention, has confluence coincidentally with the median of the larger channel. There is a larger channel at play, as you can see it. Of course, if I could only draw straight lines, that would be amazing. So the median and arguably the median and the top range, the resistance of that level right now kind of come in confluence right there. Not going to be all that surprised to see the price action slip to that 6,900, which we've mentioned before. We said it's not going to be yet out of the realm of possibility for the price action to test it, given how not far off we are from where we were when I said that. So we can still easily end up testing that. It just makes sense. Again, sort of some of the levels are more magnetic than others. Some of them are stronger than others. Some of them are more bouncy than others, if you will. More volatility, I mean. Just don't take this too seriously, right? 45 minutes, we are looking at this more so, again, corrective bullish momentum. So if we want to be objective about this, this is bullish yet in bearish territory, right? But we are objectively bullish. It does seem like confluence gonna come sometime soon. Even if you look, somewhat closer, you realize they're not diverging as much as they're moving in tandem and parallel to one another, and potential and very shallow as well. Notice you don't have a very sharp sort of tendency here, not a sharp angle. We have a very shallow angle, at least for a beginning. So this may end up with this confluence again and remaining bearish, but before it does so, it's not going to be out of the realm of possibility, as we said, to push us back. As you can see, what matches with some of our support and resistance levels and with some slippage. So it's things we've seen before, right? And those who are watching this after the Palantir video or haven't yet watched the Palantir video, of course, go watch the Palantir video later after this. So you will see the correlation. If you're interested in Palantir, I made a whole separate video talking about Palantir. And this is the very same sort of correlation to Palantir, because even though Palantir itself, within itself, going to have some corrections, if we zoom out, right, we realize Palantir is running ahead significantly of the market. The market is still within its sideways movement, right? And Palantir arguably is already somewhere down there, right? Is already having already had a significant downtrend, a depreciation in value. Now it's gonna, I'm saying at least, or in that video I'm explaining how we are perceiving some form of correction, which is not all that far-fetched and out of the realm of possibility and logic, looking at the sort of framework and what we are building here around the indices, if you will, because again, as I already shown before, those who know or don't know, we have high correlation between all these assets, ranging from Tesla, right, IWM, your Russell, Nvidia, SPX, of course, Microsoft, Apple, literally you name it, they all move in confluence to one with another. What most people don't realize, the entirety of the tech sector kind of move in tandem. But if you pay attention to this one beautiful thing, you see how Tesla is kind of a bit ahead of the curve, right? You can see Palantir. Palantir is ahead of the curve. You see that black line, right? Palantir is the black line. You can see Palantir right there, black name. So Palantir is ahead of the curve. Tesla actually is going somewhat flat. This is the red line. We're seeing Nvidia is kind of curving inwards. So basically we're seeing the vastness of the market either flattening or turning inwards. Palantir is ahead of the curve. It just goes to show that more so there is more for the perceived vastness of the market participants, there is more risk involved, and so they are capitulating. Some of them are selling because they understand there's a better price to be bought at a later stage, and it doesn't make sense for them to stay or DCA, and they are far more certain within that correction. Otherwise they would not be risking it, because if you are exiting too soon and the market will correct out before you're too ready, or you identify the real correction, because some people will be of course pushed to start buying when Palantir will correct, and that will be a big mistake, because Palantir will not be done yet. As we said, it will kind of have this parachute effect. When everyone else will be falling far more rapidly, Palantir will still be will feel like moving almost sideways, rather than the market will be finding a low spot and then moving sideways. Palantir will be kind of floating down towards it, right? Or so it seems at the moment. Of course, that's why I say, subscribe. Very importantly, here is my dear friend Tom Nash. Just like on his channel, to make sure that you're up to speed, you need to go right there to any of my videos, right, and press this all thingy, so you will be informed on whenever I inform, because things can change, right? What we are saying right now is not set in reinforced cement. We are saying what we are seeing right now under the conditions. So basically that would be the same thing as looking at the road for 2 seconds following my analysis now, and then ignoring it for months at a time. And then that would be then like looking at the road for 2 seconds and ignoring it at 10 minutes at a time. It doesn't make sense. If anything, you watch the road for 10 minutes at a time, and you can afford then to ignore it for 2 seconds to kind of get your bearings or do whatever that else that you want to do for 2 seconds, right? Not more than that. That's the whole logical principle. Of course, you have the Patreon address, definitely still discounted. Patreon, definitely join. I'm going to bring that back in. Right now, this $50 tier is $50. At the end of this month, it will become a $70 tier, so definitely sign up right now. In reality, this tier right now is not just somewhat discounted. No, it is 50% discounted. Why? Because at the end of next month, I will be bringing it up, hiking it to $99 to its original price. This tier is a $100 tier. So, which of course you get informed in my community, just kind of to show for a second what it is that I want to show, right? So here is my beautiful Discord, on which, of course, if you haven't seen on the other videos, I keep my community informed. You have the Academy section. Of course, that's for the one-on-one graduates. And of course, if you want to know more about the one-on-one Academy, I highly recommend. Here is a quick sort of commercial for it, you know, real quick, just kind of some of the things it offers, and many other things that are not even written here. Definitely join discord.gg/. It's not Investor anymore, it's Gregory, like in the description below. All the links are in the description below. Ignore that Investory. There is no more Investory, by the way, those who ask. I decided to change my name simply because there are too many Investories all together online. So definitely join me right there, and you'll be up to speed. You get informed, and you get to converse about various things. For example, something that one of my members have informed us, Osaka, again, shout out to you, beautiful legend. Basically, what you want to understand from this, that between 2023 and 2025, we had a revision on the jobs, on the actual employment of 2,153,000 jobs. And so I wouldn't trust any report that comes out right now, especially given that we're during a partial, full-on governmental shutdown. I know people like to play word games with what kind of a shutdown this is. This is a shutdown. You don't. In fact, arguably, we haven't been receiving real data on our reports for quite a while now, one way or another. CPI, jobs, you name it. It's all fucking bullshit. Okay, let me just say it's bullshit. All right, this shit needs to stop, seriously. But I mean, go write them an angry email, send them an angry fax, you know, maybe that will help. An angry mail pigeon. Yeah. Okay, so the bottom line is that if we're looking at the market, if we want to be objective with what it is that we're seeing on the grand scheme of things, we are seeing somewhat of a corrective movement. I hope the screen visible. Yeah. Somewhat of a corrective movement to the upside still. We are maybe potentially, potentially, not certain, given what we're seeing right now before we enter tomorrow's pre-market, right? And so on and so on. So arguably we are seeing a potential retracement to roughly around 6,900, but then again, if we continue look at the broader picture, again, the daily, for example, is already below our 50 range and very bearish, full-on bearish, arguably. So again, within the framework of these several days, we may see some corrective movements, but on the broader spectrum, if we look, for example, the daily, our weekly really looks bearish. It's preparing for that sort of turnover on the larger scale. Once this goes full-on oversold, we will potentially see a lot more of an excessive turn around with regards, basically, this amplify right now that confluence and subsequent divergence of the forces, which we are right now bearish dominant, still in bullish territory. Eventually, the more bearish we become on the adjacent smaller time frame, which is the weekly, the more bearish it will appear and will represent or translate into the monthly, subsequently translating into our 3 months or our quarterly, finally giving way to the confluence of the forces right there, which we of course potentially going to see some processes and hear some potential confluence in the future as we then break back down. Potentially, it doesn't have to happen right here. Again, it's just kind of to highlight the general scheme of things. It may occur right here at around the 50. In fact, it may occur somewhere in between. Right now, I can't even give you full certainty that it will at any of these stages, but I can tell you that it's very much more likely given my experience and knowledge of technical analysis and cyclicality of the market. So, of course, join the community. You'll know more and you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, on the grand scheme of things, not a lot has changed, boys and girls. Those who are watching this following the Palantir video or independently, whether you're interested in Palantir or not, I highly recommend you go watch that. Definitely don't forget to like and subscribe. The like is just, absolutely free for you, and it kind of really does help the channel quite a bit. Why not? Just a free tap, not a big deal for you, and it is quite helpful for me. Don't forget to subscribe, of course, otherwise you'll not be informed. It's, like we said, like reading one page out of an entire book. And very importantly, if you haven't yet done, again, huge shout out to my friend Tom Nash that helped me and keeps on helping me tremendously with my channel. The recent growth of the channel really shows. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, members, viewers, all that great stuff. Thank you, all of you, you beautiful legends. Shout out to you. And definitely don't forget, when you do watch my videos, on my videos, and also on Tom's as well, don't forget to change this bell thingy to be on all, right? Kind of notification to everything, as we YouTubers say. Otherwise, you will not be informed whenever I, come up with another video, and you will not be up to speed to why the market is behaving the way it does. Love you all. I'll see you in the next one, or I'll see you in the community. As that's it. You all have a wonderful week, and see you in the next one. Peace out.